Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of How to Program in Java. So, what I want you all to do, just to give you an overview, we learned how to do strings in the last video, and today we're going to learn about integers. And if you don't know what that means, it's just a number. Integer is just a fancy word for number. And if you saw throughout the other videos, I kept typing in int, and that is the type name for integer, and then I put a number. So we're going to go over it. So I want you to all to just clear out anything you've already got in your program, unless you've been playing around with it already and made something, I don't know. But we're going to do a comment again. Remember, whatever we type in a comment can't be read in the program. All right. So again, what did we go over the last few videos? That every Java program runs in some kind of class. So I already deleted everything, and so did you. So what do? We just do public class, and then the class name is init, and then boom, right there, we just rebuilt our class. How do we get the program to run? If you watched the other videos and been learning, you would have known it was public static void main string array args. And there, we just got our program back. Alright, so this is how you open every single Java program. Remember, you have this void main. That's how we do it. So now we're going to go into integers. So let's just give you a quick integer. So you can write integers again. Remember the scope. So I'm going to just give you an example right now, because I just really want you to learn about the scope. So int, we have int, we have a name, we have int x equals 9. Okay, we have int x equals 9. Now what happens if we have another int x equals 8? Well, as you can see, it's something different here. We got an int x out here, we got an int x in here. So basically anything in this main method, it's going to look for this int x. And I think I don't actually know, but I think it's this dot x is actually going to give you, I think it's going to give you this one, if I'm correct. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it might be the other way around. No, I don't even know what I'm doing. Forget it. Just forget that part. So you see, these are two different int x's. So this is part of what I was saying about scope. And again, so I'm making int y equals 3. This int y is only accessible within this void right here, and the rest of the program doesn't even know it exists. So I'm just letting you know. So let's just forget all that for now. So let's do static int x equals 8. So let's break this down. What does this mean? Well, we don't need to know about static right now. We'll get into that type of stuff later. But what is this int? Int. Int means integer. Int is a number. And in programming, there's more than one kind of number, because there's different limitations for each number depending on what kind of hardware you're developing for and what you want it to do. So int only goes up to a certain number. I don't know. It's a big number, 32 million something. I don't know any of that. All I know is that Um, and we're gonna type out all the numbers that I'm talking about. So there's there's an int, there's a float, and I'm just gonna type it out for you right here. There's something called a double, and a double is what you want to ideally use for decimals. And this is what you would probably do your percents with. Um, and then you have a long, which I'm really not sure what it does, so I'm just gonna put it in for you. Actually, I know what it does. So, well, not really, but you know. So int is basically an int and a float. Think of int and float as the small version of double and long, because I don't know. I don't ask me. I don't know. So int can only be up to a certain number. Float can be only be up to a certain number, but double and long can be up to way bigger numbers. And they'll give you more when you're dealing with bigger math problems. These double and long are going to be giving you more reliable information rather than using an int and a float for a lot of big math, because these have limitations. I don't know why. Don't ask me. So this is just your basic understanding of integers, of numbers. I might as well call it numbers. So we've defined here int. So again, remember what I said. These are types. These orange things, int, float, double, long, those are types. And then we're giving the type a name, which is called a variable. So these are we call it a variable for int x and one for double d, and I don't have to explain it. I think you can tell. Now, what you probably don't get is, why do we have a character in a number? Again, don't ask me because I don't know. So we have a float, so 1.5. A float cannot have 1.5. It has to have an F after it to designate it's a float, so you don't get confused. Same thing with a double, you have 3.0. Actually, you can use it, but if you want to use larger numbers, you want to put D. Elsewise, there's going to be another float, if I'm correct. And then, same thing with 44, with long. It's just going to be another int unless you put L, I guess, I think. That's how it is. So just think of these two as longer, bigger versions of these, if I'm correct. So, I'm sure somebody watching these tutorials is gonna have a field day because they actually know this stuff and I don't. So, all right. So we just went through a boatload of information, and why don't we actually do something with this now? And this is the part that everybody was waiting for. So, what happens if we want to do math? How do we do addition? It's really easy. So all you really have to do is create an int, and then I'm just going to call it value equals 3. And remember what we were talking about with the plus, but this is a little different because this is for addition. So this isn't like adding a string or anything. So we have int value 3 plus 5. So by itself, this isn't going to do anything. So we're going to have to do a system out dot print line, and we're going to pass in our value. So let's run this program. Oop, what do we have? We have 8. So we took value 3 plus 5, and now we have 8. Another thing you can do, you can put in variables. So let's say you have, again, this is why I was saying, if you were making some kind of software that puts percents and you get to select what kind is added, this is how you would probably go about it, using the variables. That way you don't have to keep typing in over and over and over again the actual numbers. You just type in, for example, pi, and then it adds 3.14. You know what I'm saying? So again, let's run an int, And because we put x plus 5, and you can think of this as algebra, it's kind of the same thing. We did x plus 5, and if x equals 8, then it's going to do x plus 5, which is 13, which is really 8 plus 5. And I know I'm just talking, but I'm trying to explain this as simple as possible. X plus x, just to show you, is 16. But we're not restricted to just addition. We can do subtraction, multiplication, division, and you can find this stuff can do a lot of things. So what's x minus x? Well, that's going to end up being 0. So let's change out x for 44. Well, that's going to be a negative 36. So what else can we do? What if we did 2 times x? And this is how you do multiplication. You see this asterisk here, you do shift 8. That's how you do multiplication. And we have the answer 16. Division. I'm going to do x divided by 2. And I'm going to run this, and whoop, we have 4. X divided by 2 is 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'm just trying to show you this is what you can do. So we can also do this with floats too. So 1.5f minus 1.3f. Oh yeah. Okay, so if you're gonna add int and float, I don't think you can add them together. You have to do it in its own thing. So float value. See how we changed it? So it's a float. So like I was saying, int. This is a reason why we have to have a float or a double for decimals, because int doesn't take decimals. Int only takes like real numbers. I don't even think it does. It take negative? Yeah, it takes negative. So of course it would. I'm sorry. So we have 1.5f minus 1.3f, and then we're gonna get 0. We got 0.20005. So I'm gonna show you something. So let's change that float to a d, a double. And this is ideally, I think, what you're going to want to use. Oof. Wow. We're far way off. So, again, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the whole decimal thing, but when it comes to this part of town, but I'm just trying to show you. You see, we're getting crazy numbers here. We're getting some crazy numbers. This is what I was talking about. You gotta know which one you're using, and I don't know. So you're gonna have to do some research on that. Yeah, so I really don't know why it's 0.1. Oh, you know what? This is correct. It is 0.1, but these trails and numbers are throwing me off. I don't know what this is about, but again, this is what I was trying to say. So that's how you can do the same thing here. So I just showed you if we did static int y equals 2, and just like algebra, if we did int value equals x divided by y, and we're going to get 4. So just like algebra, it's the same thing. We have a legend. It says what x and y is, and then we plug it in, but we don't have to do all that. It does it for us. So that's how you add, subtract, multiply, divide. And if you're thinking you can make a sick calculator with this, yes, that's one of the easiest things you can do. And this is how you get again, this is what I was talking about in a previous video with text output. You can put numbers in here, and you can put, a return. So again, let's just go over this one more time. So I'm going to do x minus y, and then close that off. And then I'm going to tell it your answer is value. And then we run this, and it's going to say our answer is 6. So you see what I'm saying? You can combine your answer in string. So there's another thing you can do. It's called setting something that's already defined. So what we have here is a static int x, right? What happens if we want to change the value of x at any time? All we have to do is say x equals 3. And I'm not saying you have to put 3. I'm just giving you an example number. But I'm saying you can just put x equals 3. So what happens now if we did value equals x minus y, and then we told it to print again, and we run. Oh, wait, hold on. So we went from x equals 8, y equals 2, and then we did x minus y and then print that out. So our original answer was 6. And then after we got that answer, we changed x to 3 and did 3 minus 2, and now we have our new answer 1. So I just showed you, and you can do that with strings. You can do that with just about anything throughout your program. You can change what this is, and you may not understand why you would want to use that, but let's say you had something to say what current menu we're in. Let's say if x was 8, then somewhere else in the program, if it was 8 and you could access it, then it would run the program. I know I just did not speak in English at all, but I'm just giving you an idea. If we made this public, this could be publicly accessible to this whole program here. But we'll go over in public and private and all that stuff, but I'm just trying to show you. So that's how you do addition, multiplication, subtraction. You can set what the value is, and that's just the basics of integers. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you understand, and goodbye.